And hello, everybody. It is Tom Chenault and my little boy, Adrian.
Hello, Father.
What's going on?
Not too much.
We got a pretty good show today because Robby brought his little boy, Josh.
This is so good.
This is such an exciting day. And Robby decided to wear a sweatshirt that matched his teeth. And that's exciting. So we're off to the races. And Josh, I sent him a text message this morning, and all I said was, please don't comb your hair. Because we were down there in Costa Rica, and he looked exactly like this. He looked like Fabio, it was just so beautiful. See it, and he doesn't even know who Fabio is, but it was just such a beautiful, beautiful deal. And I love these two guys, and you're going to love them too. And I came home to Adrian and I said, if only you and I could have a relationship like these two guys. And I am proud of them and I love them. I welcome them to the show because we were down there, and company owners versus distributors, leaders is kind of a common refrain. And seeing their attitude toward trying to bridge that gap and have the field be their friends is something that is a sight to behold. I mean, you guys have got to get this. So you want to say anything before we get them rolling?
I'm just super excited and keep it going.
All right. So Robby, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Tom. How you doing, bud?
I am doing fantastic. Josh, how are you?
Doing fantastic. Had a great time with you in Costa Rica last week. Good to see you.
What came out of it, you guys? So the guy sitting next to me, and I loved him so much because he actually listened to me. And at the end, he walks up with a recap of all the things that he perceived to be important that I had said to him. And he literally read those back to me. And
it was
said,
on the back. It was like a fortune cookie piece of paper, right?
It was like 4 words. But at the end of the day, he goes, you really are the most shallow guy I have ever met, Tom, but people seem to like you, which I took as the greatest compliment of all time. This kid is going to go places because he's willing to learn, and he's willing to learn from people that are doing it instead of reading the textbooks. Even though he reads the textbooks, his dad's a voracious reader. So let's just go. I mean, you guys have been together since really, you were only, 16 years old when you met Josh, Robby?
No. So
yeah, he's 16 years older than you.
Jimmy and I, when we first dated, I had been married, had a child and divorced before I was 20. And I go on a date with Kimmy, and I'm thinking, man, this beautiful woman's not going to want to date me. So I immediately disclosed to her, hey, I need you to know I've already been married. I already have a child. I've already been divorced. She immediately shares with me, oh, that's good, because I've already been married and I've already had a child and I've already been divorced. And so that's when I got to meet Joshua at the age of 3 years old, and she got to meet Kristen at the age of 1. So Kimmy and I have been raising this big guy down here since he was 3.
Bingo. So my math is almost the same. It's almost right. So please don't try to figure out.
Yeah, you're
so far off of Earth. It was unbelievable. But that just proves that Josh listened and I didn't. But at the end of the day, I love these guys, and I love the fact that they're building their company from their heart for the distributors and gonna make it a great deal. I was listening to that little kid from the Philippines who just idolizes you both, looking at his future and the future of his country and throwing it all in with you two, and it just warmed my heart. That's the kind of people you are, right?
Yeah. I mean, really.
Longer answers. Yeah, is not an answer.
No, well, I mean, Tom, as you know this, and maybe the audience doesn't. I was in the field for 15 years before I was ever on this side, right? And Joshua has been a part of the profession. I mean, I've been a part of the profession for 3 decades, and it's about the age of Joshua. So again, I think Adrian and Josh were born into network marketing. Yeah. I mean, Joshua was listening to Jim Rohn recordings, as far back as he can remember, right? I mean, like it's in him. And I think that says a lot. And I would say the dream of all dreams, Tom, and you get to do it with Adrian every day, is to get to work with your own children. And when you can share a purpose, of transforming lives together and having impact. And what I love about Joshua, he's a lot like you, Tom, and he's a lot like you, Adrian. we're all in the people business. We call it BLP, in our company, which is a belong, love, and purpose. Tom, share them with them what you guys call it. I think yours is like is it BLTS?
So I see Richard Brook on here. So I stole his hair on fire lingo from him.
Yeah.
I do something called BLTSs, which is belong, love, trust and safe. Yeah, right there on the screen. Right there on the screen. And that's my BLTSs, like a BLT sandwich. But I stole it from Robby, and I did it subconsciously, and I didn't even know it. But when you bring it up on that tremendous interview that you did with Rob Sperry, I love that's your philosophy because it works. So talk about that a little bit.
No, it's really simple. I've always said, and I learned this through my career, that there are things more important than money. Now, I love what Zig Ziglar says. Money does rank up there with oxygen. So I always like to make sure I make that clear. But what I really enjoy is, we're in the human being business. And Tom, what's so much fun about watching you is you're the one guy that I think gets that more than the average person. I watch how you interact with people, how loving you are, how you ask them questions, how you really listen, and you practice this, and we do as well. And the B stands for belonging. We want to make sure that every single person out there knows that they belong here and that they're a part of it. I think every human wants to belong to something. The L is love. That's a simple one. People are always worried about artificial intelligence. Well, it hasn't figured out how to give a hug yet. So right now we have a huge advantage. We can still give hugs to other human beings. And I think that's really important. And P is purpose. Even in the good book, it says, without purpose, the people will perish. Everyone needs purpose in our life, and we get to share a purpose together of transforming lives physically, emotionally, and financially. And Joshua, more than anybody, is out there giving BLP each and every day. I love watching him and the other people in our field do the same.
That is so cool.
And it starts at the top. And if it doesn't start at the top, you've got to be the top with that culture. And I love the fact that that's the way you guys resonate. I love that. And I was watching the way that you were talking to other people and watching Josh out the corner of your eye, basically subliminally trying to teach him things without actually telling him. So you were pretty much showing him, right?
But yeah, you got to lead by example. I learned a long time ago, Tom, my children don't do anything that I tell them to do. That's never, ever worked. So I found they just do what I do. So they watch everything I'm doing, whether I know it or not. So that's been the key for everybody.
So was it by intention? And I just have to ask you this as a learning lesson, because everybody knows I'm like the most broke, cheap guy on the earth. So we get down to their table and we're sitting around the table and Josh is smiling from ear to ear and he's just doting on my every word. And his dad's holding court, and everybody that comes by, he's buying him a guacamole or he's buying him a cocktail, and everybody's just thinking Robby's the greatest guy in the world, which I happen to believe that until the end of the night, Robby and Josh.
Here it comes.
The waitress came by and said, "You owe me like $1 million because these two deadbeats walked the tab." And I just couldn't believe it. And I'm sitting here pondering that because it seems so not like them. But now it kind of does. I think he was trying to teach his son a lesson. But I got hooked with the bill. Did you do that on purpose, Robby? And Joshua, did you know he did it?
Oh my word! I had not.
No, exactly why. Hey, Robby, you gotta be on my show next Tuesday because I'm gonna fillet you.
It's all a setup. It's all a setup.
So, I'm just curious. It was just an honest
Richard
question.
Brooks. I just saw Richard Brooks' comment on here. I just saw him. And now I see what you do to him. I'm now getting to be a part of this. So I personally love it when I get to see you. And oh, look at it. Now I'm in trouble with my wife. Did you see that, Tom?
That's good.
I am. Well, it sounds like I owe Tom big time. So I got to find out and square up with that. That's hilarious.
Is this on the bill? They would. You guys said, Tom, you stayed an extra day. Remember? That's because I had to work. I didn't have the money. They made me wash dishes for a full day because of your guacamole. So here we are back in business. Nobody needs to worry about it. We're happy. It was awesome. And we can go on with the show. I have it off my chest and I warned you.
Yeah, no, you got to clear the air, bro. This is important. I would have felt terrible not knowing this.
Okay, that's good.
This is proof. And they to punish him, they made him wear those ridiculous glasses for the rest of the trip.
Oh, that's so. Yeah, look at those are beautiful, aren't they? Yeah, those are. Everybody thought I was really hip with those. Yeah, in fact, in that picture right there, I put the time of the show over my stomach on the post. So thanks for posting that, Adrian. I look so svelte there.
So welcome.
All right, so let's go back to network marketing and what the heck you're doing at your company and it's called Yoli, YOLY. And what's so funny is there was another company there called Yanoli or something like that.
That's right. Laura's company. Yeah.
It was so crazy. They had two companies very similarly named, and this wonderful woman named Laura Lapinska that was involved with that. But that event for seasoned network marketers, for brand new people, and for company owners, I've never seen anything like that. Have you?
No, I actually was really shocked, Tom. I'm always very cautious to go to events like that. I mean, I love the profession, but I also know network marketers. I know, we're network marketers. So whenever I see people from from different companies and I see owners from different companies, I'm always a little wary. But I can tell you that, one thing I really appreciated about Rob Sperry and about his masterminds is I think he does a really good job at vetting. And I can say without a doubt that everybody at that event was genuinely there to just build relationships and help each other and help the profession as a whole. It was wonderful. It was a beautiful thing. And I was very happy that my son Joshua was there.
Josh, we gotta have you talk a little bit. Your dad's on the mic.
Hey,
how you doing, buddy?
Hey man, I'm doing great. First of all, thank you for having us on. This is awesome. We watch your show all the time. This is awesome. Adrian, it was awesome meeting with you earlier today. Thank you, Corinne, for hooking it up with the
Girl Scout cookies.
Girl Scout cookies. Here we go. Thank you. And then Tom. Obviously you're, as Rob calls you, legend of legends, and so just getting able to sit with you and just sit across from you. 3 days in a row at breakfast?
Yeah. Nobody else got up that early. I don't drink, and you work all the time, so it worked out perfectly. You and I were the only ones in the restaurant.
Well, hey, I got the books. I got the Bob Chris books. I appreciate you, sir. Feeding a Giant and Raising a Giant. I'm going to dive right in. And the contact mapping, I think, to kind of just piggyback on what Robbie was saying a bit there, just being able to hang out with, other top executives and founders, and the way we're, all collaborating with top industry leaders, was just super eye-opening for me and just super awesome, like Robbie said. And one of my main takeaways, and something like Robbie was getting at, is, we're for distributors by distributors. He himself, as well as our other founders, they cut their teeth in the field, just like yourself. And just like Adrian, I was in the back while all these supplements were flying around people's living rooms and hotels, right?
Love it. I love it.
Every day on the way to school, from the age of 6 on. It's like, shucks, is there something else on we could listen to? You don't realize, right, Adrian, that it's developing who we are.
I love that. And I want to ask you a question about that, because your dad said, he said you were weaned on Jim Rohn, and I'm curious. I've got all kinds of kind of crazy stories like this. What's like one ridiculous thing that your dad did to like throw you in the personal development soup growing up over the years? I'm sure you got one.
I mean, besides being far too young and getting, how to win friends and influence people thrown in your face at like 10 years old.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but that's all great stuff. That's great stuff. And like I said, you don't realize until you grow up, like what it was shaping you to be. And so I'm super grateful for it, because now it's just like, oh, well, little quotes just popping in my brain. But
it gets inside of you more than you realize, and before you really realize it, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then it's such a blessing too, because I'm number 4 is about to come. I have 3 kids. Number 4 is on the way, and so we do our affirmations in the morning and end it with a Superman pose. And so just being able to, just like yourself, being able to work with my dad is just a dream come true. Nothing's more important than family, but then being able to have that to instill and to pass on to my kids is pretty awesome stuff.
Tell them one of your stories. This is a horrible thing I did to him.
I don't know which one you're what's amazing is I don't know which story he's thinking about, and there's there could be a whole litany here. My favorite was that he had the old school tape duplicator. You remember? So this was like way back in the day, and tapes you can't unless you had a really fancy one, I guess. But tapes duplicate in 1x speed. And so he would literally pay me to sit there and listen to the tape while the tapes are duplicating onto things. So you put them in there, and I just sit there and listen to all of it. So Dead Doctors Don't Lie and Tony Robbins and
everybody,
all this stuff, man. It was something else.
Okay,
love it.
So the first person who tells me who Robert J. Sterner is gets one of these Love Like Crazy, Then Love More t-shirts. So Robert J. Sterner, anybody know who he is? If you do, yeah, I will tell you. So now I'm going to tell you.
I am dying. If somebody knows this, I'm hanging your picture on the wall. I would love it.
It was the tape of the day. And this was, hello, Jordan Adler. And it was
Jordan.
so great. He would send you the tape of the day at the top of his lungs, and he would start the call every day going, Tom Chanel, it's Robert J. Sterner. And I would turn that thing up to 11, and the poor kids would be on the way to school, and they would just have their heads covered. And he would give you about 30 seconds of vim and vigor that literally, he was like a F student and ended up straight A's just because of Robert J. Sterner. So if anybody knows who he is, I'll give you a sweatshirt. But I've been looking for him forever, trying to find one of those old tapes because he was a character. And, you immerse your kids into personal development unconsciously at a young age. And look what came out of it, Robbie. It works, doesn't it?
100%. 100%. It's so funny how many things Josh now in his 30s comes back to me, Tom, and literally now is like, he'll quote to me now my stuff. Like I think I forgot more than I ever listened to, you know what I mean? And so he'll come to me like, hey Dad, you remember what Jim Rohn says? Da, da, da. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Yep, that's true. I've always said this about self-development. Isn't it funny, you guys? You can study it, and then you actually have to put it into practice. That's not as easy. Yeah. And so if Josh or any of my family catches me, not reacting so hot, right? Because I've always said, life has no meaning except for the meaning you choose to give it. We get to control 100% our response. My family's very good at throwing that back in my face when I lose it. And so it's great to point out to me, hey Dad, didn't you say this? I'm like, yes, you're right. Yep. No, it's amazing. I've always said this in network marketing. Your check will always be equal to the level of your self-development and your skill.
Yeah.
And meaning you could have a ridiculous amount of skill, but if your belief in yourself is down here, check's going to be down here. Yep. You could have ridiculous amount of self-development, but you have no skill. So I just think those two are, people ask all the time, what are the two most critical things in the world? If you want to do this as a business, it's your skill and your self-development.
Yeah.
And what's up? And let's get out of that territory and talk about where this thing is going. Because let's face facts. And another thing I loved about Sperry's event where there are so many young people like Josh there. And we've got to, it's great having all us dinosaurs pontificate, but we need to have guys like Josh, guys like Adrian, people that, and Elaine and Rick Linus, they're a whole different story. I saw they're watching the show right now. They are legends in network marketing. They were there too. I'm not minimizing anything they're due, but we've got to preach to that choir called young people trying to figure out how come this business is far better than anything else like we believe it to be. Josh, is that possible? You guys the attention span of most of the kids is so short. They have to make money right now. How do we do that?
Seriously. And speaking of industry legends, one of the individuals that was present that I actually gravitated to the most and learned a lot from, that spoke a lot of the same principles that you had spoken on, is Donna Johnson. Shout out Donna Johnson. And so, with being for distributors by distributors and being raised in the profession and what you were talking about with the contact mapping, get to know people, get to know something about people that no one else knows, and document, stay in contact. And, like what Tom and Donna shared with me is, just treat the field, treat brand partners, treat customers like king and queens, because truly, you know, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And so, you know, kind of like what we were talking about at the event, AI's taken everything by storm. But Robby said it in the beginning here, thank goodness AI can't give hugs, right? So, yes. I mean, just that connection, and just, you know, regardless of what it is, whether you're selling cupcakes, all natural health and wellness products, or cars, it's a people person business, and just not getting away from that, which is the great rememberer, aka Tom Chenault, is all about. So that's what I've heard from all, you know, from all of the legends that were there. And so, also, fun fact, not to digress a little bit here, but I want to give a huge shout out to one of our founders, Mr. Corey Citron. He's on a plane right now, headed to the Philippines. Today's his birthday.
Happy birthday, Corey! Everyone in the chat, if you
Happy
know
birthday,
Corey, give him a happy birthday shout out.
But also, fun fact, I do my digging. I kind of know a thing or two about a person or two. And both you, Tom, if I'm not mistaken, at least it said on your Facebook page, you and Robby share a birthday.
Heck yeah.
Is that true?
July 1st.
That is awesome.
July 1st. We're birthday brothers.
That's cool.
And Art Jonak and somebody else that was of massive substance, that just, we all happened to be born on the same day, and all of us doing okay in this profession. So it must have been a good day sometimes in about September of the year previous.
Yeah, we can't overcome it. So AI is cool as a tool, but I mean, there's nothing's gonna replace connection, genuine connection.
That is so true. And it's, you know, it really is. I think it's becoming more important than ever. And people can tell the difference, right? Like it's not that hard to tell the difference between somebody that found a way to phone it in, even if they did a good job with AI, and somebody who actually means it. And even, I just think we're so perceptive as human beings that we can pick up on these things, right? Like vibrationally, the heart, you know, whatever that is, you can tell when somebody's just taking you for a ride and when they actually mean it. And the difference is astronomical, I think.
Totally. And something that was also really eye-opening is how, you know, the profession, we're going through a great consolidation right now. We've got venture capitalists, you know, we got VCs coming in, companies getting bought out. And so again, you know, talking with, you know, other leaders, with having, you know, having corporate be, you know, answering to the board, you know, it's just, it's missing. And so there's that gap that we can really fill, which is, again, kings and queens, baby. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So they're everything.
It's really important to have network marketing friendly owners. And it's a tough thing, because you need money in this business to grow, and you do end up talking to private equity, and you do end up talking to public companies, and it gets really, really tricky. And I grabbed you on the beach when we were walking, and I asked you if you were ever going to sell, you know, I said, you love the field so much. I've never met anybody that loves the field so much, that is still packing boxes and scratching backs at the corporate level like you, Robby. And do you ever entertain the thought of going out there and selling yourself to one of these bigger companies? And your answer was so great, because you said, no, I cannot afford to lose the heart of our business for money. I mean, I would rather stay small and be who we are than be gigantic and no semblance of the way I started it. And I have great respect for that. Speak to that a little bit, will you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I fell in love with the profession like you did, Tom, and a lot of us when I was in my 20s. You know, I found it as a wonderful way to make some income, and the industry really took great care of me and took care of my family. It gave us a lifestyle that, you know, most people just dream about. And unfortunately, during that process, I learned some things too, which is, and again, this is not a knock on publicly traded companies. It's just, I happen to be with a publicly traded company that made some decisions that benefited the shareholders and cut my paycheck in half. So I lived through that. I got to experience that, and I didn't like it at all. My second company, I only ever built two over those 15 years. My second company, which is no longer in business to this day, I'll never forget, you know, they made some decisions, again, same thing, that I realized was not in the best interest of the field. And I ended up doing something, and Tom, you know the story. I used the never word, you know, and we never use the never word. It's a direct phone line to God. He's
Yeah.
immediately listening to your next words. And I over and over again said I would never start a network marketing company. And then all of a sudden it happened, in 08, and we launched this company in 09, 16 years ago. And we launched, you heard Joshua say it, by distributor for distributor. And I love that my son is, listens to Donna, listens to Tom, two of the legends, and listens to them, and he calls them kings and queens, because I get emotional because I believe that too. They are. You are. This profession lives and dies by leadership. It lives and dies by leadership. We will grow with the leadership. We'll die with the leadership. And you gotta take good care of them, and you gotta really pay attention to them, and you gotta spend that time and that energy. Here's the good news, Tom. Like you, I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, I remember somebody said, if money wasn't an issue, what would you do? Well, money hasn't been an issue for me for a long, long time. I love it. I love people. I genuinely, every time I go to a live event, and it's like God will speak to me, and I'll be, and it's like, this is why you're here, Robby. This is why you're here. Because I'll be out there, and it's just, and you, look, Tom, I watch you at that event. You're a magnet. People, everyone wants a piece of Tom. They want to hug him. They want to hang out with him. They want to do all these things because he exudes love. He exudes passion. And a lot of you guys don't see it, but I saw it with Josh at that table. I think when I made him pay the whole bill, I remember this individual came up, and then he grabs his phone and he starts talking into it. And I was listening to what he was doing. He was putting in there the conversation he just had. If they had children, he was naming their names. If they were at a certain age, he was putting their age. If they have grandbabies, he was talking about the grandbabies. He talked about something unique, something that was special to them. He is a master. You are a master networker, and I learned so much being around you, Tom. And you know this better than anybody. The best in this business, it's not about connecting and starting a conversation. It's about continuing that conversation. And you're one of the masters, Tom.
Who would have ever believed that we built that thing for contact mapping and network marketers, and now it's the handiest thing for me with my dementia. So I'm the luckiest guy in the world, because that's why I grabbed it right then, because I knew by the time I took 2 bites, I would have forgotten everything I just heard. But at the end of the day, everybody, what people love most about you is what you remember about them. And that's what I see with especially Josh. I mean, he was so monomaniacal about paying attention to people, writing down what they said, remembering them, and then reminding people that they remembered. That's what he did to me. He sat down with me and he reminded me. He remembered everything I said, and it meant the world to me. And one other person that's on here is Brooke, and we spent a lot of time talking about the influence that Richard Brooke had, not only on you, Robby, but also on Josh. The guy is a force to be reckoned with, and a good human being that helps people for no reason other than love of humanity. Would you both talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Richard Brooke is, I just love how real he is. Just like you, Tom, there's no filter. And that's the kind of people I enjoy hanging out with. There's no time to beat around the bush. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. And so what I really love about Richard is, I started here at the warehouse, and I've been here 5 years now. We're 16 years old, but I started in the warehouse, worked my way up then to customer service. And then I was on the sales team, but just, getting them the data so they look good on stage. And so as I'm coming into my own, working my way up the ladder, so to speak, there's a lot that I have to learn. My favorite quote, Socrates, all that I know is I know nothing. So I'm just always learning, always absorbing. And I'm really grateful for the time that I've had with Richard for just being a straight shooter, letting me know exactly what I need to work on. Being the dean of data, I do have access. That's one of my main questions when I was at the Rob Sperry event out in Costa Rica was, hey, if you had someone like myself, someone on the sales team, how can I best support and provide the most value to you? And so going around and asking those questions, really, no one said anything. Dean of Data, baby, Mr. Richard Brooke. That's all you, man. And you know what? not a single person I spoke to, Richard, said, sure, they all had their different things, but, again, king and queen, customers, brand partners, king and queens, but also, having access to that data and exactly what he said. So I know truth is old. And exactly what he gave me is absolute gold, and I'm going to take it for the rest of my career. So I'm super grateful for Mr. Bro. That's what I have to say about it. Go ahead, Mr. Fender.
How about you, Robby? What do you think of the guy?
Okay, so the first thing I want to touch on is the number one reason why I will go out of my way, I'll drop everything when I know Tom is interviewing Richard, is because when you have two guys that are going to speak their mind and really do not care what anyone on the freaking planet thinks about what they're going to say, it reminds me of my grandchildren. You have no clue what's going to come out of their mouth, and I love every minute of it. So, and I my gut hurts after I'm done watching you two with the laughter. I love it. Now, on a serious note, I think Richard knows this. He's been one of my mentors since I was in my 20s. Reading his books and his Mach 2 with Your Hair on Fire. I mean, it's been incredible. When I finally did though come full circle to really got to build a relationship with him as a founder and an owner, he came into my life at a time where I really needed it, because our company is over 16 years old. We are debt free. We are private. We are by distributor for distributor. And, we've had incredible times where we've had that incredible growth. We've had plenty of times where we didn't. And he sat there and really explained to me, Robby, do you understand how rare it is and what you guys have done? And I'm not going to go into the whole conversation, but thank you, Richard, for building up my belief again. And I'll be forever indebted. And he went way further than that. He then jumped on calls, and then he actually came to one of our conferences. He came out and he woke everybody up and said, hey, because the truth is, Tom, Adrian, most of our people in our company aren't from the profession. They've only been in our company. They don't. So you don't know what you don't know. And it was incredible how Richard really reminded everybody of what we have and how special it is and how incredible it is. And so thank you for that, Richard. You are one of the legends, and I love it. And I love the fact that he does. I love, in fact, you and Tom, what I love about both of you do not sugarcoat things. You just tell it the way it is. So incredible guy, Tom. Incredible guy.
All right. So I lost my train of thought. You have anything? I had a great question. I lost it.
Okay.
I got something, Tom. I would.
Oh, no. I know what I want to talk to you about. No, I want to talk about this. Forget it, boys. Here's the deal. The bane of my existence is Amazon. I mean, I wake up every day to 5 emails from somebody saying, guess what? This is it's just a nightmare. We all know it's a nightmare. And I am telling you, Robby Fender cracked the code. He has made Amazon his partner and his ally, which is easy to say. They steal all the money. Well, what they did was exactly the opposite. They stopped the thieves, grabbed the money, and redistributed it to the leadership in their field. And what they did, and with big checks. And it's unbelievable how they leveled the Amazon playing field in their company to the benefit of the distributors instead of the benefit to the company. It's just shocking. Talk about that a little bit, because I am still mind blown about the conversation I think I heard.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. The other thing I would add is it's also price integrity. We list everything at full retail. Everything's at full retail. And we do that on purpose. So that way, every single brand partner and every single preferred customer, if they come directly to the company, obviously gets a dramatic discounted price. So that's also important. You also touched on, Tom, that we realized before we took it over, it was a mess. I call them trolls, but you get lots of trolls on there, and they will absolutely destroy your brand. They will destroy the brand because they don't care. And so you have ridiculous amount of trolls on there. And so we made a decision, look, we have to control the brand. Amazon is not going away. It's just going to get bigger, and we have to do it. And so we went in there, and it took a long time, Tom. It took a good solid year before we got rid of the trolls, where we finally established, we got our little, what you call buy now gold button. That takes some time, but it was always, how do we use the profits of Amazon to give back to the field? Because one thing that I've always known, the field, we're partners. The field and our partners, they're a volunteer army. You know, when it comes to the corporate is a team. You know, they're a team. I get to we can fire them, hire them. You know, that's the team. It's completely different. Your family, like your son, your daughter, your mom, your dad, your uncles, you get what you get. By the way, that's exactly what the field is. Tom, you could recruit me and then I go recruit 10 other people. You have no control over who I recruit. So it's family, baby. So how do we give back to the family? How do we protect the family? That's what we've done. And we want to grow the company. Some of the dumbest things, Tom, that I used to say, and I'd love for you to touch on this, but some of the dumbest things I used to say is work once and get paid for the rest of your life and never work again. Those are the dumbest words that I repeated because I just regurgitated what I heard. I wish I'd never said those words. And I wish we never created a compensation plan. You know, the compensation plan has to reward workers so the company grows. So what we did was we took and created what we call our monthly performance bonus, keyword performance. We pay for performance. So what we do is those individuals who are active and they're performing and they're recruiting and they're doing the things necessarily to build their business, they get to be a part of that pool. And we do put a lot of money in that pool, and we actually pay that over and above the comp plan. Does that make sense? So we max our comp plan, but then we also take these funds and put it. So sometimes people are like, how does the company even make money? You know, because if they hit all of the bonuses and they get that Amazon, it can be some pretty cool checks.
Really, really cool. Yeah, I love that. So what were you guys going to say before?
Yeah, look what Tom said. I agree, Thomas.
Josh was going to share something. We'll let him get a word in.
Well, I see Thomas on here. Thomas, shout out, man. Learned a lot from you as well.
Amazing guy.
Again, you know, on Costa Rica, we kind of lived in our own little bubble. And so just going to this really opened my eyes, just the amazing leaders that are out there, the trainers that are out there, and just all coming together, collaborating, sharing thoughts, and how we can really grow this profession as a whole. An abundant mindset. There's plenty for everybody, and we're just working together, get the word out, and transform lives. And so I think Rob Sperry, what he put together, and Robbie touched on this, it was my first leadership event, Leader of Leaders event. He shout out to Rob. He's not only become a great mentor of mine as well, just as Richard has, but also a phenomenal friend. He's just a great dude, and he completely vets everybody that comes. So if anybody is thinking about going to it, it will absolutely transform your mindset and build your belief. So I know he has an event coming late July, and I'll almost certainly be there, but he's a stud. And so, and everybody there are absolute studs. So I had a great time. That's what I was going to say. Thank you for the platform to do so.
I think that's so huge. And Rob, the events he's putting together, and even just watching the evolution of the way he has, continued to not only have really top people from the field, but he's bringing in company owners. He's bringing in these different viewpoints. And I think that really bridges the gap, right? How easy is it for there to be this us and them sort of mentality? And I think when Rob is bringing these different perspectives together in one safe place is a huge deal, and something that the profession needs more of, because it's not an us versus them. It's not company versus company. It's not corporate versus field. It's none of that stuff. And if we can give up those stories and instead go out and focus on taking the mission out into the world, taking, this profession and this model that gives people a chance to make money and to provide for their families and to have an impact and to develop themselves, what other profession do you get the kind of personal development that you get in network marketing for free? There's nothing like it. And there are so many people out there who have either never, know nothing about network marketing, or have some, preconceived notion about it because of some hearsay thing that they heard that's completely backwards and wrong. And there's a huge mission out there just to take the positive vision of what network marketing can do out into the world. And there are millions upon millions of people who are waiting to hear that message. That's where the energy should go.
What I resent is leaders believing they know it all and they're refusing to listen to Eric Worre or Fraser Brooks or Simon Chan or any of these people. You know, they think they know it all, and they're going to protect their organizations and tell them not to go, and they're not going to go themselves. And they're going to sit on the edge of the lake and heave hand grenades at everybody that does go, because for some reason they're better than that. And it literally stunts their growth. And what I want everybody to understand is that in every profession out there, continuing education is a big thing. And they bring in outside speakers and do all that stuff. And what Sperry's doing, what Eric's doing, what Richard Brooks doing, what all these people. But I've never seen with 30 people in a room where you had the partner company with John Wadsworth, you had obviously Thomas and Donna, you had Armand. I mean, it was, you had Al Bala. I mean, the knowledge and the experience. And then you had John Melton and these people that are stepping in the game right now and crushing it. Everybody's collaborating instead of competing. It was magic, don't you guys think?
Oh, 1000%. I mean, that's all I kept when I went up to Rob. I literally, he had did a survey, and in the survey it had said, you remember that opening question, Tom? Did you have any, you know, did you have anything you were nervous about, or did you have any reservations? I think was the word. Do you have any reservations? And as I had said earlier, I was just nervous about networkers being networkers. You know, they sometimes can't help themselves. And it was so refreshing. It was so awesome. There wasn't one person, Tom, that I got a weird feeling. Every person genuinely was about collaborating, was about how can I help you? How can I serve you? How can I give you? It was, and the truth is the longer the event went, it inspired me. I wanted to help. I wanted to give too, you know, and it was an event that I was extremely grateful for. And I think most importantly, I was very grateful to have my wife and to have my son there. I was so happy to do
you
this.
were awesome to do that. I wish I would have taken him, but
I got grounded.
Oh yeah, he was grounded for a week. But another thing, so the ANMP, and I hear all the time about, and it was so beautiful to hear Armand speak up at the ANMP with Al Ballin in the room, because Armand, I mean, at the ANMP, he took over. I mean, he sponsored it for a ton of money, and another company, Bravenly, was there, and another company, they all put a lot of money in the game, and they invited a lot of people, and basically they were being cops on their own teams to make sure overzealous distributors weren't recruiting in the room. But what was really cool was Armand was talking about it a lot, saying, you know, at the end of the deal, some people came up to me and said, your guy is doing this. And we just sat down and we made sure that that person never did that again. And we straightened it out. And what I would say to all you leaders, with all your disdain, that won't go to the ANMP or support it because you don't want your people stolen, come. And when you get there, make sure that you are that leader that is so unbelievably big that people wouldn't think about leaving you, because you don't own anybody.
That's right.
Volunteer army, and they are there because you are the best place in the world for them, and your disdain and trying to protect them really, really doesn't serve you. And I'm saying that to all the companies. And Brooke, I want to say this to you. Last week on the show, we talked about the Texas coin, and it was 50 cents, and they should send you a reward because it's now 90. So it's awesome. It went up. That was really great. So all those Texas people, I hope you're happy. And silver got completely annihilated last week. I don't know if you guys saw that. And you start looking at the reasons behind it, and it looks like it was manipulated pretty good. So they talk about our industry having all these absolute wrong things with it. When they can manipulate the silver market and actually document the firm, the securities firm that had the bottom dialed in and everything set up to buy it right then and stop it and take it back up, we're playing a game we can't win. But we can win network marketing if we keep the heart in and the crooks out. You guys agree?
100%. I would also say, Tom, that you can almost name any profession there is good and there is evil in the world, and there's that, you know what I mean? And you can find the good in any other profession. You can find the evil in any other profession. I mean, that's just a fact. But what I want to state is, you are so accurate. And that's kind of what this event did for me. I'm scheduled to go to the ANMP, by the way. And I invite anybody to go to that event. So again, they were asking the questions, and I appreciate you guys bringing that up. So I got to, you introduced me to Armand. I mean, here's a guy that has built a $1 billion company, $1 billion, and he was so loving and giving and said, yeah, anything I can do to help. By the way, Tom, you were going to connect us, just a reminder, right? So that him and I could chat. So I thought that'd be awesome. No, but my point, seriously, it was these events, what's taking place. If we want to see our profession break through and actually go to another level, it's generally going to be done with individuals like the Richard Brooks, the Robs, the Toms, the Adrians, the Thomas, the Donnas. I can go on and on. There's a lot of really good, awesome, beautiful people out there that it's going to allow this profession to go to another level. And I'm excited about that.
Well, we thank you guys for who do we have next week?
We have,
we thank you guys for coming on. You were unbelievable. And I don't want the money for the tab you ran out on. I want to be able to hold this over your head.
Oh, of course you do.
So so at the event, there was a guy there named Dr. Rewire. And that guy was a force of nature. And
it's incredible.
Yeah. And so, all the NLP stuff is kind of 100% different than what this guy does. He literally gives you a DNA test he wrote a great book to rewire your brain. And so I read the book, and we're going to bring him on next week. It'll be way, way too cerebral for me. So Adrian will probably run the show, but this guy knows what he's doing. He's been on with Dr. Brecka. He's been on with Joe Rogan. He's the real deal. And he was there over at Sperry's event also, and it was insane. So that should be an interesting show for you too. Want you all to just stay plugged in. Go find Robby, but especially Josh on social media, and fall in love with these guys, because they are the mouse that roared. You're going to see a lot of them, because everything they stand for is what this profession needs to be. Love you both so much for coming on, and have yourself a phenomenal day.
Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much, guys. It's been fun.
see you next week. Bye.
See ya.